Oh, welcome, beautiful souls. Welcome to my beautiful people here in the now moment. Myself, I'm Ann Jonas, and my beautiful co-host here in this sacred conversation, Sally Ann, and a beautiful member of our community, Brenda. So grateful for you always. And for those of you watching the replay, wherever your now moment is, I welcome you and I thank you and I honor you. Because when you choose you in an experience like this, that means you're saying, I am valuable. I am here. And we are here. We have been chatting on actually a little bit here for about 15 minutes. And I was like, we need to start recording this beautiful exchange because we really have been talking about the wisdom within. Isn't it crazy? I said to Sally Ann this morning as I was writing it down, I was like, oh, it's the wisdom with and in. Oh, isn't that fun that it's that word? And she's like, yeah, I totally knew that. Well, because this has been like her thing, wisdom within, that we're borrowing today to share. A co host on this round 10 that we're almost complete in now, the 9-week webinar. Sally Ann was here for week 2. Brenda has been a previous co-host 2 times. And this whole container, this love light chat, this sacred connection community, it's really all about honoring and gratitude. We are all walking a path. And one of the last things that we shared here in this container before record was we've all had families dynamics in our lives that have not resonated with who we, with our wisdom from within, resonate as. And so that has created a path that has been at some points treacherous. I'm the Lotus Path. So I'm like all about the mud and the poo, right? And even though I'm celebrating it and having gratitude for it, it doesn't mean that it's not challenging and not difficult and doesn't hurt. And that we don't cry at night sometimes when we're not seen by people that we love to be seen by. This is the gist of what we're going to bring here today, though, because that doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter how anybody else sees you. What matters is how you see you, how you be you. And as you be that, with that, in that, that is what others will meet you as. And anybody else who doesn't understand that isn't going to be there. And that is a really beautiful thing for us all to really hold ourselves in, is that as we trust our path and our choices and our inner joy and our inner song and our inner beingness, there's nobody else to have any construct that can shift or alter that. And that is so much about what this life of being human is, meaning a spiritual being that incarnated to have a human experience. That's what we're always dancing in, how we're a spiritual being and we are existing as a human in this field, in this dimension, and we are all one. That's the stuff I love to play in, dancing, hugging, speaking, crying, laughing. That's my whole deal because I'm all about the wisdom within. So I'm going to toss it over to this other beautiful box where she's across the pond. I'm on Idaho Earth for those of you that aren't aware of that. That is in the US of A. And then we got all the way over the Atlantic Pond in the UK from Wales, a beautiful soul sister who has been dropped into my life. I'm so grateful through the Empowerment Live that I'm so grateful for, Brad and Cecilia, and this community where we are literally vibing towards one another. And Sally Ann brought a beautiful offering. And I shared this on the Sacred Connection. I'm going to share it here now, and she shares it too. She showed up the day that she put her fur baby across the Rainbow Bridge. And she was there. And she really drew on that wisdom within. She wasn't in a space to hold space and hold the tapping experience that we are going to get to benefit from today. And such a beautiful soul. You were present in the most vulnerable, integrous, authentic way. And that's everything that I desire to live for, to be as. And that's who I attract. Look at these beautiful souls in here. Look at yourself in the mirror. You're so beautiful as you witness this. Your attraction to this is you resonating as this. Okay, Sally Ann, come in with your beautiful words and tell us a little bit about you. And I'm so grateful for you, sister.
Thank you. I'm Sally, as and beautifully said, and it does say on my thing there as well. And I live in South Wales. And I think similar to just about every woman that's going to be listening to this, my childhood was a childhood where I survived and I got through. And the experiences that I then had to walk with and felt like a cage until you realise that the only one that can get you out is yourself. And there were so many things I'm blessed to that came my way, medicine that really supported me, shamanic work, various practices that helped me understand that there was a different path. But the reality is no matter what we're shown, the steps are still our own, one step at a time. And we're all surrounded by a lot of complication in this life. Like we were even just sharing it before, like posts and things with reels of information on, and all that complication keeps you here. But it's this within us that is our truth, our barometer, and it's also this that gives us the courage to do that one foot in front of the other without knowing. And the paths that we're all on are unknown paths because we're going on our own, our unique path. And this is why the wisdom within is so important, because you can learn from others, you can absorb beautiful quotes. Like I shared, a friend told me that birds sing when they feel safe, and like that just lifted me. So those kind of things, just you can feel it, you can feel the truth in it, you can feel that it lifts you up. And inside you, you've got this well inside of you, and to be able to access this and to respect it, honor it, and live from it. And yes, you can take from others, be guided by others, work with others, because when we connect with others, we elevate anyway. Like we're in a circle right now, and circles you feel the hearts of others, and magic happens. The conversation we had before we press record was absolutely beautiful between the three of us, just weaving. And to be able to share your truth, to be able to share everything. But this inside of you is, women have been taught so much which keeps us small. And inside of you, though, is this immense knowledge and this immense knowing and this wisdom. We're all medicine women. Where does that medicine come from? Inside of us. And we've got ancestors behind us, we've got everything around us. There's so much that elevates us, supports us. And I'm starting, and I'm still on the, I'm still walking one foot in front of the other. I've been learned a lot recently by various things that were going on, but it's my willingness to keep leaning in. And we do have to feel the uncomfortable in order to grow, to change a narrative, to choose. If everything stayed comfortable, we'd stay the same. So in amongst the chaos of the change, we do blossom. And anyone that's like watching this on replay as well as now, just think of the experiences you've been through. You're a miracle that you're here. Whatever your childhood was, whatever you had to go through, you're here. You're remarkable. And it's just, again, that one foot in front of the other. But being connected to this inside of you is what gives you the courage to step into the unknown. You're all unique. You're all beautiful. And we do shed. We shed more and more. We have shared before that this is the year of the snake as well. So transmutation, a poison shedding skin. It's going to be very potent energy coming our way, which I have felt. And I'm sure it will continue throughout the year when it's necessary. But a lot of it is like the simplicity of it is getting back to the simple things, because we're dropping out of the head into the heart then, and feeling. To feel, even sharing beautiful things before the record about feeling is so important. Listening. Yeah, and like I loved, like Anne, so you said something that people aren't, where people aren't listening, but who are we meant to be listening to? Like Brenda shared, the birds, the trees, the wind, the dogs. That's what we're meant to be listening to, because all those things are open doors to our own inner truth. That's what we're meant to be listening to. And yet we've been so, we can put something on so as distract ourselves from our truth, because we're still self-sabotaging, keeping ourselves small. Because if we listen, we'll understand that we're phenomenal. We're like that flower behind you on your that painting behind. We're this.
Yes.
And the more we listen to this, we will just blossom.
Yes. Yes.
And isn't
Well,
that beautiful?
it's interesting. We were also talking about Montessori education
Yeah,
and
we
that idea of what education is in our world collectively. And so
Mhm.
globally, there's a lot of different ways to be offering education. But in our traditionally developed Western world, we have a basic core curriculum. And now there's so many other what one would call offshoots or alternative education. Yet they are honestly more holistic, really, because they are with the whole person, the whole being. And they also, the Montessori in particular, is very self-directed. So what does that mean? That's really the wisdom within is what they're being taught to tap into so that they can express their desires and their curiosity is the best way to learn something. If you're not curious about it, you're not going to be even available to take in any information. You're not resonating with it. It's not vibing for you. And to say, well, you must learn it, you must understand, right? Well, what are you standing under? A system, a program, a doctrine? So when we really are understanding and we're coming from what what calls us, what drives us, we're all unique. We're all have a unique and this is not the first time you've heard that. Everybody knows that you're unique. And yet, how do we forget? Yes.
Yeah.
Brenda's saying being willing to ask tough questions to open closed doors. That's absolutely right. That really is the inner standing. That is the key to education. Because here's the thing, we're flipping the script right now. Like here, you talked about the snake. This is also a 9 year, 2025 adds up to nine. That's a number of completion. We're completing contracts. We're completing programs. We're completing expressions and versions of ourselves. And we're called into this. Being called into listening, as you said, Sally Ann, to the whispers of ourself, of the divine, of our guides, of our purpose, of our vision. And so this place where we see so much being offered right now, right? So much written, so much visually, so much sound. There's so much being produced. And it's not just by celebrities anymore. It used to be that you had to be a best-selling author or a dedicated teacher or a I love that threes and nines releasing. Yes, it's beautiful. It's so important to remember how here's this thing. These are synchronicities, right? This is living life as a series of synchronicities, seeing how a conversation, an image, a song is relevant to you, to your story. And if it's not, if it doesn't excite you, if it doesn't call you in, recognize it's somebody else's experience. That's the thing. We're all these unique stamps existing out here and playing off of each other, playing for each other, playing with each other. And we are here to have that understanding. So, in the realm of how do we show up? Whatever we're offering, how does it feel to share it? I feel like this is a really great question to ask. How does it feel to share it? And so that place of like, that's where the sitting with. This morning, in my meditation before coming on today, I shared with the ladies that it was a beluga whale. A whale came in, big head, big forehead, and singing. I used to, well, because I sing my own singy way, singing, who loves Elf? Singing, I'm singing. So that's me version of singing. And there was this beautiful book about this beluga whale. And I used to read that to my daughter. And what I called forth, what I intuited, what I received from this wisdom within in my meditation is open your mouth and sing. and really express. And that's where we were talking about with the birds, right? The birds sing when they feel safe. So that's the question, right? We all get to ask ourselves, what feels safe? And when it doesn't feel safe, how do we help it feel safe? Okay, why don't you come in, Sally?
Yeah, if it doesn't feel safe, I think that it's about our roots, isn't it? And it's like allowing ourselves to feel into our roots. It's allowing ourselves to step into our own lives, because a lot of us have been, yeah, trauma can disconnect you from it. And also a lot of the noise can. And so you're not very present, but it's in the present moment. And right now, how do you feel just being in the presence of real women? You'll feel grounded because there's no agenda. We're not trying to manipulate, coerce, or anything. We're just being here. This is, it feels safe. We know what it's like to feel unsafe, but the ones that can bring in safety is ourselves, by being really present in the now, because that's the present we're giving to ourselves. The simplicity of the words that we say, isn't it? Being present, it's a gift for us. The amount of things that I absorbed that I didn't when I was running before, and trauma means you run. You go very fast. You'll do 1,000,001 projects. You'll plow yourself into everything that you do. It's a societally beautiful running. It looks beautiful, still running, and
Well,
it's
go
only
ahead.
as yeah, it's only as I'm getting older that I'm realizing, and like it's that, and like as you slow down, the wisdom can be accessed far more, because you just suddenly have to, aha, you get it. um, the gifts we get, like seeing my son's a smile on his face, him playing with the dog, flowers that I got given. My brother gave me a bunch of flowers, and to be able to look at them is receiving. And when we're running, we can't receive. But there has all these like cycles, these circles need to be completed. Women give until they're exhausted, until they're on the floor. Again, we've been shown and taught that it keeps us small,
Yep.
doesn't keep us safe. We're
Yep.
taught keep you small, keep you safe. It doesn't. Keeps you small.
Well, even for men, the idea of what their expectation is of how they're supposed to show up and how they're supposed to, in the traditional way, take care of everything. And it's that idea of, and there isn't that space to even call them in to their softer side, their more feminine side, which is, again, I'm going to shout out to Brad Walsh, because they had and Cecilia, they had a beautiful panel about how men can show up for themselves, which is, here's the deal: when we all show up for ourselves, we aren't actually creating any hierarchy.
No, we're
There's no
not.
hierarchy when we show up for ourselves.
And I've got a son, a 14-year-old, 15-year-old son, and one of the reasons why he went to the Montessori inspired school was I didn't want him to be indoctrinated into what the image or the role of what men are coming through as, because he's gentle, and
Hmm.
I wanted that respected, and that's exactly what's happened. Men can't, gentlemen, it's actually there, gentle. And
Oh, I
and
think we forgot about that. Gentle man. That's hysterical. It's funny. I used to play. Well, I just haven't in a long time, but I would play pool, billiards, right? And I usually play at dive bars because that was what was fun. And so, you just, you put your quarters there, you put your name on the list, right? And I would say, I play a gentleman's game. And what
mm,
does that mean? It's about honor. So if
yeah,
you're not going to call the shot and you miss it, but a ball goes in, I'm going to say that wasn't my shot, right? Because that's that place of integrity. So integrity is about allowing for us to be, again, soft, right? Now, it doesn't mean that we can't be big,
yeah,
but when we start from soft, and this is even it's interesting as I've shifted and evolved. We're all here. We were talking, we're in our 50s and 70s here, and wherever you are in that like number situation, it doesn't matter yet. And then the generation that's been born in the last 10 and 15 years, like they're a very special quality of people. But the rest of us, we've been looking at shedding, right? Shedding, coming anew again. Where does that stem from? That comes from within, right? Everybody knows that. We don't, here's the deal: we shed and create a new skin, or what's the opposite? We put on a mask.
Mm.
And most people are what they do, like a crab that grows out of its shell, they go get another one when they grow bigger. So they get another shell versus sloughing off and having a new skin come through. That's vulnerability,
Mm.
allowing for the wisdom within to actually be the version that is being offered.
And a snake, because we did have a snake a few years ago, and a snake, when they shed their skin, they go quiet because exactly they're vulnerable. So that even, nature gives us so much. We were talking before about the indigenous people and what happened to them when they got indoctrinated. Their religion was the land, their education was Mother Earth, was everything around them. And then people decided they needed to be educated, and it's soul destroying. They
Yeah.
knew the truth. They knew the truth. Did they
Yeah.
read it on a book? No, they felt it. It was passed on generation to generation. They were so deeply connected. We were roamers before we then, like back in the day, we roamed, didn't we? And then we started to create settlements and we stayed, but that's our origins as well. What were we connecting to? We were connecting,
Mhm.
we could feel everything around us because we were deeply connected to ourselves, our bodies, and our truth. So you could sense. And
Yeah.
the sense has been numbed. So as we're then exterior orientated, if someone looks a certain way, says a certain thing, then they must be okay because they're a doctor, because they're whatever. But actually, if you can just connect to your senses, you know whether something resonates or not. You can go into a supermarket and your body can tell you what you need if you listen to it, rather than following a specific plan. There's times when I'm low on something and my body will pull me to it. But again, it's being slow enough, slowing down. If we're in our heads, we're going fast, we're thinking about the things that we do. I get it. I've been a single parent for 12 years, so I know what it's like to multitask.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but also I realize now the amount of pauses I was not allowing myself because I just kept on going. Now I'm understanding, yeah, my son's older too. So I know that too. So it's not the intense parenting phase. However, the ability to pause is where I can flow with
Yeah.
and I can feel. We're
Yeah.
remarkable. We really are. But we do have to come back into, yeah, we are spiritual beings, but it is spiritual to be present. It's
Yeah.
spiritual to honor your body. It's spiritual to feel. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro and doing 100 pairs on top of there and sacrificing to God knows what. It's not. It's about being like sat at your table right now and being completely present. That's spiritual because every moment's a gift. Yeah,
Yes.
moving from parent to guide. Yes, darling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and that even is relevant as we are here to parent ourselves.
Yeah, we
We are
are.
here to guide ourselves. So
Mm.
I love this idea. I love this other piece too. When you talk about education, it's from the community,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so the elders would educate the young ones. That makes so much sense because the others were involved with taking care of household things and taking care of the homestead, if you will. So this idea where everybody has a role in a community, in a culture where everybody's wisdom is valued.
Yeah.
Everything's wisdom is valued, from the rock to the water to the birds, and how each different animal has its own. I mean, we talk about spirit animals, power animals, because they're all different. They all have their own wisdom within. And so when we see them, they're sending us a message that the wisdom within is also about seeing what is there for you, listening to what is there for you. So it may be something new. It may be a path you haven't followed before. Maybe it's a subject you're not familiar with. Does it call you in? Yes, because really what it's doing is igniting or reigniting or sparking that knowing, that awareness. Because, yes, acknowledging my feelings, exactly, acknowledging what is in the present, what is here now. And what we were talking about, plans, life, schedules, parenting, jobs, housekeeping. When it's a list, and it's outside of you, you're constantly chasing it. When it's a call, when it's a like a nudge, right? A nudge, then it's where you're aligned to be.
Yeah.
Like we're literally deconstructing. I mean, we wouldn't be having this conversation 20 years ago. It wasn't in the field to say, yes, sit under a tree. That's the work. And we were starting again in our pre-recorded scenario, balance between sitting under a tree, taking care of the laundry, being with our family, offering to our clients whatever our work is in the realm of others. And really, all of it when it's through us. Like, this is the design now, that it moves through us. Then we are in alignment. But how do you get there? You're like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, that's what we're playing in today. Listening, meditating. I don't care how you do it, really. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it. And really, you talked about plants. I had this beautiful African violet that's flowering again. Isn't that exciting? That happened because of my relationship with it, really, because it didn't flower for a long time. Being with it, taking care of it, and feeling that resonance in its expression through me. Everything in your field, you created. I mean, that's another conversation. And yet, if we look at the fact that we are building, making, creating, co-collaborating our hologram of how we see our world, it's going to be coming from within, unless it's a program that you are tapped into from the outside, right? Are you tapped in or are you tapped out? Oh, there we go. I love that. I mean, it is important to be listening to what's in the field to help you remember what you're aligned with, right?
Yeah.
I know. I love my job. I keep
Well, totally. Yeah.
yeah,
And we've all been also, we all grew up saying that we had to work hard, and that in itself, there's like that energy hard is even just conjuring it up. It's a killer, isn't it? So, when we step out with our own work, when we're coming from the heart, that's one of the things we need to do is to soften, is that one. Because and then another sharing, like, if you love what you do, you never work a day in a life, because if you love it,
exactly.
it's not work. It is a joy, like you just said, Brenda. It's a joy.
Yeah.
There's all these things that we can, and even the words that we use, we can understand. Which very often, if we can't catch a program, you can actually, the words, the vocabulary that you use will be another thing that will support you. If you do some journaling on the words that you use, that's another one because we give so much away with the wording that we bring in, and it helps us understand what we're still carrying.
Well, that's it. We've said this many times. I'm sure everybody's heard this. You're casting spells. It's called
Yeah,
spelling.
yeah,
I mean, it's funny how everything makes sense in the way that there's an overarching experience of what it means to be. I'll just put a period on that. What it means to be, right? What it means to be means that we are part of the whole, and then we're reflecting what we want to see out of that.
yeah, absolutely. And like the connection to our words again, because we're the ones that have seen social media come, into our sphere. A lot of people have lost connection to the words that they're putting out. There are words that they'd never say to another person in front of them. And it's time for us to understand. If we understand and honor the words that we use, when we're sharing as if someone is right in front of us. And that's what we need to come back to. It's like someone's looking in your eyes right now and just going to be taking on board what you've just shared. Is it really what you want to put out? And then with
Absolutely.
that conversation, the words that I'm sharing about myself, is this really what I want to take?
Well, that's important to say again, you know, what you are saying to yourself
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what you're saying to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a humbling when you do that, and it's felt. You know, you can feel it, and allow the tears. And another thing that I recently heard as well: tears are words that can't be said. How many times have we
Mhm.
shed tears without knowing? And it's like when you just trust, then you trust that okay, this could be so deep, I haven't got words for it. And how different would you feel if a child or grandchild was crying in front of you when you understood it was so intense that they just needed to let it come? You'd understand that it's a sacred river.
Mm-hmm. Tears are a sacred river. That's beautiful. And they really are. They are an expression of so many things, right? Joy, fear,
Yeah,
anxiety,
yeah,
connection.
yeah.
I mean, you know, this isn't oh my God, I saw Kermit gave a college what do you call it? The graduation thing, the speech at graduation. Commencement. Thank you, Anne. Yes, the commencement speech. Kermit the Frog gave the commencement speech at the
No way.
university. Yep, at the university that Jim Henson, like where Kermit was created when he was at the University of Maryland. So this popped in my field the other day, and I love Kermit. I love him. Rainbow Connection's one of my favorite songs. Being green. Oh, I happen to be wearing green today. That's fabulous. Well done, Anne. And you got green too. Yes, Brenda. Here's the thing. This is what Kermit said. It's not meant to be solo. We're supposed to leap together. We're not going to leap over each other. Like put a fin out or an arm out or a hand out or a leg out and leap together. Yet, it's our own unique, which is what I love about being green. It's special to be green, our own unique expression. That's what community is. We are earthlings. Did you hear that? We're earthlings. That means we're all the same. We're all part of this home planet of Earth. And we are doing it together, whether you like it or not, people. Like we are all creating it together. And yes, I know that many of you feel that what you see in the world is so painful. There's so much destruction, dis-ease, disrespect, disconnect. But the design is so that you go in. Go in. That is not the information that is going to remind you of your oneness. That is the information that reminds you that you've been separated.
And it feeds the fear as well, doesn't it? All the things around.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
then when we're afraid again, like with the birds, we can't sing. We can't
exactly.
share a song. Yeah,
Yeah,
we go small.
yeah.
And the world doesn't need us to be small. And if we look at our own lives, we know what it's like to live small. How did it feel? Not great.
Exactly. Well, and feeling small is essentially a root for dis-ease. It's a root for feeling out of alignment with self, for not feeling the most vibrant. And that is why it's a recipe. It is part of the recipe for feeling not as present. You know, I mean, here's the thing oh my gosh, this is kind of a deja vu moment. Interesting. The idea of being present is being present with. And if you are not appreciating who you are being, I love this. Open my in to receive the love, life, and divine light. Yes. And so that's that place is really supporting feeling the in, feeling the love and tuning out, right? Where are you turning your radio dial? I mean, we all came from the radio age with that knob, right? You know, moving along. And there's that, right? That sound right there. Or at the end of the night, right? Who remembers waking up in the middle of the night with all the fuzzy white, you know, moving on the screen? Maybe you saw the movie Poltergeist.
take any of those.
But the idea being that what happened, the radio, that station tuned out, like they turned off, right? So, what are you tuning into? That is so important.
And also, one of the reasons why we don't tune in is it's a lot of feeling there to be felt. It takes courage to feel it. You know, the being small goes back to childhood, being protected. I remember years ago when I first started going on the shamanic journey, and I'd go on retreats. And the one retreat I went on, he said, there was lots of preparation before you were there for a number of days. But he said, you go into this field and you go back to childhood. And I was like, I was my second retreat I think I've been on. And the first one was like a piece of cake. It was wonderful. And this one, I was like, yeah, okay. And got onto the field. Oh my God, did I? And you could see all the adults turned into kids. You could see them playing. And I just put my back against a hedge and just curled up small. And that was my childhood. And to go back there, but to actually feel it. And that's what the retreat gave me, the feeling, because when we do this work, we can rationalize as an adult. But as a child, that's how it felt. We had our backs against a wall and we kept ourselves small. And to feel that alone, I wasn't playing with anyone. I couldn't play. I was petrified.
Yeah.
And that reality. So when we go within, we're going to be holding these things. And this is why it's so important to allow the tears, to allow
Mhm.
whatever comes, because it's her. You know, going back to 4, 5, 6, 7, what the experiences that came. But when you hold her, there's then a unity to you, there's a wholeness to you. Otherwise, she's always there and she's just waiting to be held by us. Or every single one of us, we just need to hold them. Because the experiences we did have happened, and they happened at a time that were key to us. We should have felt safe. How many of us had a safe childhood? I know I didn't.
Yeah.
And then when you're walking in, you know, and you're walking within, she'll be there. And how do you hold her? You do just that. You hold. You hold and you keep on holding. When I rash out, I begin to lose honesty. And again, that's what we've been taught. The brain sort of like compartmentalized, tries to alter the story, where it just actually needs to be felt. And that's the thing about when I went in these immersion, and it was the first experience of really going within, because you were there for 4 days and the facilitators were phenomenal. They really took you in, and the stuff that came through, I was ripped apart so many times. And I'd have the feeling before I could knew what was actually happening. I'd go down before then the memory came in, because part of what we learn is to numb and to block and to not remember. But every single part of us does remember. Every single cell remembers. And in amongst this, we deserve to live, and our inner child deserves to be loved, held, and always held. This is the thing about parenting ourselves. Always
Yep.
loved, always held, never judged. We know what judgment is.
Yeah.
You know that.
Exactly.
And exactly just like our Brenda, you know, just doing the hug around you. That's exactly what we do. When she comes up, when we're about to step up, when we're about to do something new, when we're about to take that courageous step, she'll come. And so we hold her before we take the step. I'm holding you. I see you. I love you. Let's do this together.
I love that I love that we're talking about this. And I love that, Brenda, you wrote in here, what am I blocking myself from? And so it's this interesting thing about when we are going within and then we're meeting these parts of ourselves that are in pain. And so what's most people going to say? I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. Okay. So that is where, again, non-judgment and compassion come from. And this is not a typical living. We are accelerated beings. If you're here today, if you're witnessing this, if you're hanging out with us, we're accelerated beings. We're willing to go in and look. And it's funny, you talked about that, Sally Ann. Just last night, I had an experience because I've been doing this work. I've been doing this work for 40 years, really. I've been willing to go to coaching and therapy and workshops. And that is how I stand here and I say, I did the work and I do it still. Last night, I had a thought come up about something I was going to do. And I literally said to myself in the kitchen, oh, there's a part of you right now that feels afraid to do that. And that was really all I did. And then we continued moving on. I didn't have to go to a therapy session in that moment. I didn't have to do anything extravagant. I listened to that feeling that I was experiencing and I gave it a voice. And there, that is the simplest practice to say, oh, I'm feeling afraid right now. Of course, there are many layers beyond that, and we're going to do tapping today. And I offer transformational guidance, and Brenda's all about discovery and recovery and love's inner voice. Like, there are so many of us here that love to hold space for this. Why? Why do we love to hold space for others? Because we love to do it for ourselves. That's where the integrity comes from. I live a life that is about the Lotus Path. So I'm acknowledging and honoring and celebrating me. And that means I'm celebrating everybody that's in my field. And that is what it's a reminder of, who the people are in our life around us are reflections of who we are feeling ourselves to be from within. And so there are so many guideposts to
I think
remind us.
it also gives us kindness when we've got somebody in our lives that or had somebody that wasn't healthy. We can understand there was that child in us that was remembering something. We just weren't able to acknowledge it at the time. So when we look back at our history, we can understand that was the child that was familiar to the child. Child knew it. Child
Yep.
understood. The child maybe thought that's all there was. That's all they deserved.
Well, that's part of this journey, is to have these experiences to be able to move through.
and we can
And
see
every,
we can see them
go
as
ahead.
we can see them as messengers and these people rather than the enemy. We've had enough enemy in here. We're enemies to ourselves.
Yeah. Well, that's what the value of reflection is. I love saying that we walk around like as and witnessing a bunch of disco balls. We're all disco balls. We're reflecting all the aspects of our childhood, all our edges. We're reflecting all of the things that are around us. So, what would you like to look at? And if you don't want to look at something, that's an invitation. If you don't want to, that is an invitation to look. Maybe not now. You could do it tomorrow or later today. But the idea is that if it meets you in a way that's uncomfortable, that's an invitation. It's the way of this world. And we've been told what to, no, like the idea of don't sweat the small stuff. That's an opposite. Sweat the small stuff. That pee under those 25 mattresses is going to be felt no matter how many mattresses you put on top of it. I'm talking about the princess story, Princess and the Pea, but this idea of what little peas in your world, what little nodules, what little grains of sand. How about we look at it from an oyster standpoint? What grains of sand are growing a pearl? Which means that it's important to feel the irritation of the existence of that grain of sand, and then to break open the oyster and find the pearl. But if you don't break open the oyster, you're never going to get to see the pearl. You're only going to be in the irritation. I've never said that before, but that
No,
was fun.
there's a beauty in that as well, because we also know, like, if there's people that we care about, maybe we're related to, that can't relate to us, we can help understand them more when we come up against something we don't want to go to. That's
Yeah.
what they're living. So we
Yeah.
come up against an edge, don't we? We can feel it, and it will be an experience. It'll be something that they're living in that, and
Yeah.
that's why like, to have compassion takes so much courage to do this. And
Mhm.
you'll have these wonderful moments when everything is this, and then something will still come because we're still growing. We're still walking one foot in front of the other, and like, the more we can understand our own processes, the more we can then support others as well. So the more we can understand our own nuances, how we respond to something, the more when we can understand others. I've had so many light bulb moments regarding my mum and dad. They're both in spirit now, but like, in understanding my own things that come up, I'm able to understand why they responded like they did. And there's peace in that. And like, also what you shared, my parents are my ultimate guides and cheerleaders now, whereas on the path it was tough because of
Yeah.
what they were both trauma, childhood abuse they'd experienced. So the stuff that was around was what was around. But now they're free of that, and it's love. So the evolution of our relationship has deepened in the spiritual realm. I lost when, like, we shared about, like, Brad Walsh and me losing him, and he was my soul dog, and he's with me now.
Yeah.
There's that transition, but we get ripped open by so many things. But then the ripping open is how we keep on blossoming, like these beautiful, these roses.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
but just it gives us compassion why others can't. Like, my family, my mum and dad are the ultimate cheerleaders now, but they couldn't have done it when they were walking this earth because they had to stay small no matter what, and all the various things that were around them.
Well, we were talking about that earlier. And so, in my experience, is that they had to have the experience they had for me. Like, for me to have my experience was important that my parents had their experience, which put them both in spirit world as well. And that's a tragic, traumatic story that my dad shot and killed my mom and then died in jail. And so they're not here celebrating me and my life as it is. And if they had stayed on the planet, I don't feel that I would be who I am because I wouldn't have had that irritation, let's say, that I've decided to make a pearl out of this and chosen that this is for me. So that's something that probably all of you have heard before. I know that these two lovelies, we talk about this all the time. Life is happening for you, not to you. It's
And
for you to be called forth inward. I mean, it really is for you to look inside.
And the more we alchemize our life experiences, the more we bring in others who've had similar things because we're voicing what they've experienced, and when we're guides for others then as well in our honesty.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Our honesty. And that, that's again a deep everything that's going to come back to it's coming from starting from within. Everything starts from within. Honesty with ourselves. I mean, you can think that nobody knows you're lying to yourself, but that's a vibration, right? Brenda, I love it. I mean, and honestly, in the realm of all of the isms, right? Alcoholism, whatever ism it is, even like workism, like I'm gonna say that's an ism. Working is an ism, right? From that standpoint, anything that we're doing because we are doing it as a reaction, that is, we're actually choosing to not see the truth. It's a choice. Everything's a choice. And we get to start over every minute, every second, every pause. We were talking about that before, the importance of the pause, right? The breath has 4 parts to it, not just inhale, exhale. It's inhale, pause, exhale, pause. They exist. We just move through them very quickly, so much so that we don't recognize them. There is a pause in the essence of being. And so this idea of it's really a deconstruction. I mean, everybody, we're all recognizing this right now, that the chaos of this world that we're living in right now, we can get lost if we keep looking outward.
Yeah, and we get praise for it as well. Someone that excels at work but is killing themselves. Still,
Mhm.
well done, well done.
Yeah. And
And
that's the old paradigm. So
yeah,
like if that doesn't feel aligned for you, good, because
yeah,
that's not really the authentic way that we are here to be. But we did this in our history, in our evolution, in our consciousness as a collective. And it's all good. Like, we're not here to judge how it's been.
no.
We're here to, again, have compassion and willingness and curiosity. Yes, that is the gift of choice to respond to any given situation for me. Me, I am the deciding factor in how I live my life. You are. You're the only one.
And the more you step inwards, the more you realize the choice you've got. Was before you were running so much on program, you didn't see the choices. You didn't think there were any available. And
Exactly.
that's another reason why we step in, is we see more and more the choice.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really a very key piece to be reminded of, that the more you step in, the more choices you will see. I feel that that is one of the nuggets of this today, is that that place of, we are so called outward. It is the key and the gift to be present and to go within and listen and be. I don't want to, it's funny. Part of me said, be okay with what you're hearing. It's really not about that, but it is about allowing for the pain of what you might witness, and also allowing for the guidance, the whispers, the nudges, and trying them on, seeing how it feels. It's a practice, the practice of being sacred with self.
And like we've been taught so much as well that we must like the rescue everyone, but the greatest gift you can do is just to pray if someone's in a position, because we all know when we've got floored by something, that's when we rose. So we can't deny someone else that flooring.
Exactly. Well, that's another thing that's so important in our world, our modern world, where we really like to fix things for people and we like to make life better for others. And it becomes a calling, right? It becomes a calling, it becomes an identity. And that's a key piece that you brought forth, Sally Ann. If something gets fixed for you, what are you doing to like, how is that you? How do you get to truly wear that if it didn't actually come from within you? If it's a solution offered by an outside source. Here's the deal. Freedom, we aren't given freedom. We are freedom. It's not something that can be given to you. It's something that you are is within you. And yet we live in a world where we hear constantly about whether we have freedoms or we don't have freedoms, or our freedoms are being taken away. Freedom can't be taken away. Freedom is an expression of beingness. Okay, so some of you might argue with me, but wait, they're taking away this and that person that, and they're taking away funding for that, and they're putting those people over there, and all these other things are happening. Yes, those are happening. Again, in that realm of, this time is about shifting perspectives.
I've
We are,
just got to get my plug for my laptop. I'll be one moment. I put myself. I won't be long.
okay. So yes, shifting perspectives as the world around us is changing. Yes. It's on the one hand, I know for many it can feel like a daunting task to face what's coming from within. And it's also about the reflection of, we are always here to evolve. That is part of our our beingness. Yeah.
I think another thing to remember as well is First Nations. They had everything taken from them, and we've all, the Indigenous, and yet how many of them are coming forward as teachers? Now they could stay in the what's been taken from them and how they've been persecuted, but there's so many voices coming through. So, the thing of freedom being taken from, there are women that are in such strong cultures that they can only show their eyes.
Right.
So whatever we're experiencing, are we really at that level that we can't show any skin? That we're
Right.
head so covered? That we're so repressed?
Right. Exactly.
Oh,
Well, and again, I mean, so here's another thing to dance with, and this is something that is not new to people in my community, but hey, you chose this person. You chose these parents. You chose this part of the planet. You chose this culture. You chose this color. You chose these skill sets. Like, we set up the container for our growth. That's the power of this, like the seed of it. The
And that's where
seed,
we,
go
yeah,
ahead.
and that's when we can bring our power back, is understanding all
Exactly.
those truths that you've just shared. We know what it's like to be disempowered. Everything has been rigged for us to be disempowered. You know,
Yep.
religions, everything, especially for women. But
Yeah,
in that, and understanding, okay, well, in that truth, okay, I chose to come in at this time. I chose these parents. I chose this experience. I chose. That's when you can reclaim your power. So that's the most beautiful thing you can do, is come to that place and space. Otherwise, we're lost in victim. And victim can't stand. Victim can't rise. Victim can't speak. Victim can't share. And she sure as hell can't feel safe.
absolutely. Yeah. This is, I mean, essentially what we're looking at is shifting from victim consciousness to a victor awareness. Yes. And that is exactly the key. Then you're walking in self-love. So when you're willing to look within and say, like, how do I feel about life as it is? And if it feels like it's running you, you get to put the brakes on that. You get to decide to shift that. And these are the conversations, these are the tools, these are the awarenesses that will guide you into that space. And that is the true healing journey, is
And having
continuously.
and having people in your life you can have real conversations with. You know, it's really important, like these people that you can just share like this.
Yep.
This is really important.
And if you don't have that community right now, there's 3 of them right in front of you. So here's the thing, like this is the idea. We are all here attracting who we're being. And so if you're feeling like this is a new journey for you, a new expression of yourself, you will find those that are reflecting back who you're being and who you're stepping into, who you're clearing space for, right? Who you're removing the veil from, like all of these pieces. So you're never alone, even though it's a solo journey, just like Kermit. We're here to leap together, to hold hands, to weave nets of support and community. It all is. We are a community, whether you recognize it or not. We are a collective community. We are a collective consciousness. What is serving you in yours? And how are you feeling served by how you are being? So, yay. Well, I would love to have us receive a little tapping experience. Are there any last thoughts that you have, Sally Ann, or even Brenda, that you'd like to share?
Yeah, Brenda, is there anything you'd like that's come through for you that we could tap on? Because you're the one here, like, with us. Is there anything that's come through that you'd be really interested in just walking with? Because it will resonate with all, not just.
I think for me, thank you for asking, it's allowing and opening to the gifts that are there for me or us to receive that may feel difficult.
Yeah,
Mm, I
yeah,
It's
love that.
that.
yeah.
I love
There,
that. And
you go
that's
with
going to
that.
be, everybody is going to receive from that, because this
Yeah,
really is about sometimes these gifts. You know, I love to say we receive many gifts in this lifetime, and lots of them are going to come in ugly packaging. But what about the ones that are so beautiful that we're afraid to open them?
yeah. And that's a beautiful, yeah, a beautiful one to go in. So, Brenda, thank you for recommending this. It's, yeah. So we'll go with that. So the first one is, we'll go the karate chop point here, and we're just going to allow ourselves. Okay, I'm feeling what? Fear. I feel like I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can open up to. Am I ready? Am I going to crash and burn if I allow this to come through? You know, what's my biggest fear? What if people ridicule me because I know what that feels like? What if I try and it doesn't work out? What if, what if, what if, what if, what if? What if? And then we're going to go through the points. So I know the gifts I already am openly sharing. they've become comfortable in a way. You know, this is what I share. This is what people know about me. So I've become known for the things that I'm already sharing. But there's so much more inside of me. I can feel it. Part of me feels the surge and the desire to step deeper into these gifts. Definitely, I can feel that. But also there's a huge part of me that's scared. I'm just going to inquire, what is that part of me? Is it the current me? You know, me sitting here right now? The one sat at my table? Sat in my chair? In my home? Is it me right now? I'm just going to allow myself to question that. And I'm just going to ask you to stop, close your eyes, and just feel that. Just feel it. When we bring in a truth, the system just starts to soothe itself. It's felt. Is it me now? Just let that anchor you. Let that ground you. Is it me now? Just let that sacred pause with those words. And just feel how your system is just softening. You haven't asked it to do anything. You're just inquiring. It's like the easiest thing to do is just ask. And I'm just going to ask you to choose a point, so as you're not focusing on the round now. You're just choosing a point that's one of your favourites. And just allow yourself, okay, I'm just going to feel. I'm just going to allow myself to feel. I've got something quite strong coming up, so I'm just going to hold for it. I don't need to put a name on it, because I could put 1,000,001 names on anything. And a name limits. I'm just leaning in to feeling. I'm just leaning in to allowing. I'm just leaning in to being. Because whenever there's a desire inside of me, there's something that needs to be held and heard before that desire can grow. I know that. I'm just going to be really kind with what's coming up right now. I'm just going to allow. And right now, whatever point I'm using, I'm giving myself an energetic hug, and I know it. I'm hugging myself as something is felt. Because how many times in my past did I touch something and someone or something said no? How many times in my past did I just shine and someone didn't allow it? How many times? I have touched things and burnt so many times, and all I wanted to be was my authentic self. That's all. You know, the gifts that are coming through, they're me. Why do I need to deny parts of myself? Because they were denied when I was younger. I was put in the shadow when all I wanted to do was shine my light. So I'm just going to lean into feeling that right now. All the times I went to touch, and I was told no. By a glance, or by words, or by energy. Something withdrew me, or someone withdrew me from. I feel this. I feel what I couldn't feel at the time. Because at the time I didn't have a choice. I didn't. I had no choice back then. So I'm just going to hold for that beautiful being, whatever age she was, had no choice. The dear little soul that denied her gifts, the dear little soul that denied her uniqueness. And just disappeared into the background. Disappeared. How does that feel? She had to disappear. She had to become invisible. How does that feel? I know I cannot deny anything anymore because I'm not meant to. What's inside of me just needs to flow. I know I can hold this. I know I can. I'm holding myself right now and I'm allowing this to flow. Do you know, whatever name I put on my gifts, they're just part of me. It's not a big thing. It's part of who I am. I'm allowing myself to just touch my uniqueness. It's that simple. It's the simplest thing. And yet at one time it was so scary. And it was. I do not deny that. I do not deny. I no longer deny anything. I allow myself to feel the river of sacred tears, the river of whatever needs to come. I allow it to come. I stand in my truth and I stand in this moment and I'm safe in my home and I allow it to come. I allow it to come. I honour all parts of me by doing so. I honour every age of me by doing so. And I choose right now to step into my wholeness. That's it. I choose to step into my wholeness. I choose to step into my wholeness. And in doing so, I acknowledge and say to my younger self, I will always hold you. I will always hold you. I will always hold you. Just stop tapping and just feel. Gently rock your body if you need to, because actually it's quite a deep one. That is a deep one. You can feel the depth of it. You can feel your younger self just breathing. We get caught up in names, but the truth is whatever's coming through is us. It's our whole being. It is our wholeness. And it's our God-given right to live whole. And that's not, beyond religion, it is. It's our right to just live whole life. We didn't come here to half live. We came to transform. And we came to show others. And choose, your prayer right now to honour yourselves. In Brenda now and anyone watching on replay, I honour the wholeness of me and I will always hold my younger self. Always. Oh. And before you open your eyes, just feel your soles of your feet going down into Mother Earth. Mother Earth. Mother Earth. Every step you take, she will remind you of mothering your younger self. Because you are walking on Mother Earth. And open your eyes when you're ready. How are you feeling, my darling Brenda?
Loved. Very tearful.
Yeah.
Mm.
The simple truths really land.
Yeah.
It's
Held.
yeah. Whatever wants to come through, it's the wholeness of you. That's the simple truth. Yeah. We put names on things, but it's just you just want to live wholly. You want to share wholly.
Yeah.
Wholeness of you,
Mhm.
and you're listening to the calling. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful,
And I
Brenda.
love that you say holy,
Yeah.
WHOLY, but it's also
Yes.
holy, HOLY.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Again, the beauty of words, isn't it? And the truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been an
Yeah.
honour spending this time with you, Brenda, and also anyone that watches on replay as well, comes in on replay. It's an absolute honour. Truly
It's
is.
been
Mm.
an absolute honor for me as well. Thank you, Sally Ann,
You're welcome.
for sharing you
Yeah.
and honoring me
Yeah.
and Anne and yourself. Because
It takes like a lifetime, doesn't it, to finally just share yourself, like you just said, the wisdom of you said, just share yourself.
Mm.
What a wonderful place that we're all in now, because this is why we've connected as well, isn't it?
It is
Mm,
in this
thank
sacred
you.
connection. Yes, we are.
Mm,
And what is sacred, if we change the words a little bit? Scared,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so, this is the thing. We can feel sacred or we can feel scared. And feeling scared is also a place where we're shifting, where we're expanding, where we're growing, we're evolving.
yeah.
This has been such a joy and such an honor. Thank you for being with us, Brenda. Thank you, beautiful souls on the replay. We are available. Our information is here for us to be connected with, within, in, for, however. It's a beautiful thing. It is our greatest joy. I know I'm speaking for the three of us to hold, to witness, to love, and to live our own authentic, sacred lives.
Beautiful.
Yes. Thank you. All right. You know what happens at the end of everything? We got to do this thing. We got to do that thing. We're going to wrap our arms around and we're going to hold this beautiful being that shows up every day, every moment, and honor. This is a journey to be lived. Yay. Beautiful. Until next time, enjoy. Be here now. Own the day. You've won. You're one with everything. Mwah. I love you. I love you. Bye.
I